Hi Devshree, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for inviting me.
I was also planning for US, but then one thought that hold me back was the finances, and I was like, maybe that would be a too much of risk.
So, okay, one myth that I want to burst here is that actually
Mhm.
masters in the US is not expensive if you choose
Mhm.
the right university. So I graduated in $0. So by the time I graduated, I had no loan. So
Mhm.
the reason is that firstly,
Sorry to interrupt, but I think that's the thing, right? In India, you think that the university, it will have the
yes,
placement round and everything, but here it's completely different.
yes.
However great or however top tier the university is, it doesn't matter. They might at max organize a career fair. That's it. Everything is on you.
Yes, that's right. Like everything I applied via LinkedIn or via referrals, but there was nothing that IIM will give you this package, IT will give you this package. That there's no hierarchy itself.
Now, one other question is like in my DMs, and I'm sure you might be getting the same question as well that, I'm about to graduate, I'm in my third year or fourth year, right? And now I'm thinking to move abroad. So I have dilemma. Is this the right decision for me right now as a fresher, or should I gain 1 or 2 years of experience and then move abroad? So, what would be your take on that?
So I feel initially, like when we came, it was mostly about a very standard template was being followed, wherein they will ask a few lead code questions. A lot of questions were available on Chegg. A lot of questions were available on Stack Overflow. So it was very easy for people to clear rounds.
Hmm.
Now it's completely based on skills, and that's why people are finding it difficult because now if you have the right skills you will get hired. If not, you won't get hired because a lot of universities will give you a scholarship, but the scholarship is a bait. That's the problem. Like NYC will give you in NYU will give you, like, it has a 80-90 lakhs I-20 amount, but it will give you like a 10 lakh, like 8,000 $10,000, that is a around 8-9 lakh scholarship. And people feel, oh, I'm getting like a 8-9 lakh scholarship. That is a big deal in India, but it is not in the US. Like, that's a bait for you to just take that university. Also, weather conditions is also one factor that you should consider, I feel, because it can be very
Yeah.
depressing.
Oh my God. Yes.
I don't know. People don't understand back in India. It's completely fine because when you
Yeah.
come here, it hits you really hard. Hardly 1% of the resumes get selected. So one tip I would like to give here is use referrals. I did not use referrals while applying for my internships because I thought that I can ask for referrals only from the people I know. But actually, that's not true. You can actually ask anyone, right? You can ping a lot of people on LinkedIn. Ping for one company, ping 15-20 people, and at least one person will respond.
Dude, this equation, it's insane. Like the whole part of it, like this was the one moment in this whole conversation until now. It's like blew my mind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like genuinely, this is insane. This T1 plus T2 framework is genuinely insane. I've never thought in this sense because same I have similar goals of getting 2 million by 30, and that's the whole the concept around the newsletter which I publish as well.
Right.
Oh shit. This is insane. This is insane. Thank you so much for this. Hi Devshree, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for inviting me.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for your time and agreeing upon this podcast. And actually, it's funny how like you dropped a DM, but I was planning to have a conversation with you, and it's a big fan moment kind of thing. Like, okay, I have been following you since a very long time, and then looking at you, like, okay, you are doing content so well. I should also start, and that was also one of the nudge in the journey. And then I was like, then getting a text, I was like, oh shit, this is insane. The content is reaching really good people, and then they say you never know who is watching on the other end, right? So that this whole concept, it just solidifies that saying basically.
Yes, definitely.
But
Yes, yes.
anyways, if you don't mind, can you just introduce, like, I know you about everything about yourself, I've been following you since a long time,
Yeah.
but for the audience, if you could just throw in a short introduction, that would be great.
Yes. So my name is Devashree Bharatia. So I am from Pune. I've done my bachelor's in computer engineering from MIT Pune, and then I came for my master's, and I did my master's at Georgia Tech in the US. In computer science and with specializing in machine learning. And then currently I'm working as a software engineer 3 at Walmart. I'm currently based out of Silicon Valley, California.
Nice. That's interesting, like a dream of everyone. So let's directly jump on into questions straight away. Just wanted to, like, why did you choose to pursue masters? Was it something which you were planning to do since growing up? Like, I want to do masters, and why abroad? Like, you still have IITs or IIMs here in India, like in India as well. So why particularly abroad, and then why US?
Right. So, firstly, answering the IIT IIM question. So, I couldn't crack IIT. So,
Okay.
yeah, post my 12th. So, that's the reason when I joined a tier 3 college, MIT Pune at that time was a tier 3. Right
Hmm.
now, I'm not sure because it's now
Yeah.
MIT WPU. But
Yeah. Yeah.
so I knew that the placement scenario was not that great. Also, the skills that I was learning, I could understand. Like, when I watched a lot of YouTube videos or a lot of other content creators, I could see that I'm lagging behind in a lot of skills. And I had also not never stepped out of my house as well. So I was always in my
Mm.
parents' house. So professionally and personally, I really wanted to grow in life. So I thought that master's degree would be the best option for me to, crack good companies, product based companies, because the placements in MIT were not that great. They were mostly service based companies only. And also personally, I feel when you step out of your house and step out of your comfort zone, it's like the best feeling in the world because you grow a
True.
lot personally. And US, the reason I chose US was because I was in tech. So I just thought
Mm.
that California, especially Silicon Valley, would be the right place for me. And Georgia Tech is like really renowned for computer science and machine learning. So I thought that that would
Mm.
be a really good chance. So that's the reason I applied for, yes, US.
Okay, interesting. I was also planning for US, but then one thought that hold me back was the finances, and I was like, maybe that would be a too much of risk to
Hmm.
take a huge financial risk and then move to US. And I mean, yeah, you can pay it off back, like you have done already. So will what? How was that thought process? Like, you have a huge debt as well, and then job hunting. That
Hmm.
desperation or that mental pressure is still always there on your head, and still you have to be calm, apply, get
Yeah.
rejected, be okay with it, and then move further. So how was that?
So, okay, one myth that I want to burst here is that
Mm-hmm.
actually masters in the US is not expensive if you choose
Mm.
the right university. So, I
Right.
graduated in $0. So, by the time I graduated, I
Mm.
had no loan.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
the reason is that firstly, there are some universities in the US that,
Mm.
give you tuition waiver. The
Right.
entire tuition for that semester is waived off if you get a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship. So,
Mm.
if you're a master's student, you will probably get a teaching assistantship wherein you are doing grading or working under the professor for setting up questions and all of that. And if you are a PhD student, most likely you'll get a research assistantship. So, there are a lot of universities in the US that actually waive off your tuition for a TA or an RA. Plus, they give you a monthly stipend for that semester. So the
Okay.
monthly stipend, like I used to get $1,100 in Georgia Tech, which was enough for me to pay the rent because I lived
Mm-hmm.
in a shared room. Apart from that, I
Mm-hmm.
also managed my groceries, utilities, Wi-Fi, electricity, all of that. So actually, if you apply to universities which will give you a tuition waiver and where there is a possibility, you will not have that loan. So, some universities like in New York, NYC, or in LA, also
Mm-hmm.
a lot of universities, they have a fees of like 80, 90 lakhs, 1 crore, with
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
tuition waiver. And
Okay.
at that time, also, I used to feel that a lot of people used to apply there just for the sake of New York. They want to live in New York. Also, the living expense is very, very, very high. So I feel that in both cases, you should consider the tuition fee waive off. And if you can't get into such a university, then maybe you can go into a university that has less tuition fee.
Hmm.
Because frankly, in the US, I've realized Georgia Tech did not help me get a job. That I can tell you.
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, in India, it's
Yeah,
like
usually I think, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's even, sorry to interrupt, but I think that's the thing, right? In India, you think that the university, it will have the
yes,
placement round and everything, but here it's completely different.
yes.
However great or however top tier the university is, it doesn't matter. They might at max organize a career fair. That's it. Everything is on you.
Yes, that's right. Like everything I applied via LinkedIn or via referrals, but there was nothing that IIM will give you this package, IT will give you this package. That there's no hierarchy itself. So a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people ask me why Georgia Tech, like then why do you want to go to a top university, right? So I think one reason is tuition waiver for sure, and second reason is I think the alumni network that you get, the people around you, they are amazing. Like their skills are amazing. So you actually also have that rigor and the competitive spirit in you.
Mm-hmm.
So I started applying immediately when I landed. The day I landed, I started applying because the people around me were also applying for jobs. So your alumni network and your environment really helps in that.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned in one of the podcasts which you did that I don't know, like 50% already had the internships in Meta.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, what? How?
Yeah, I think
So I think.
Georgia, a lot of students had internships in Meta already in the first semester, and I couldn't
Mhm.
get a referral, and I did not get an interview call for it. So I felt so bad at that time. But yeah, like I mean, it's okay.
Okay, and like you said, to choose university wisely, right? So people choose, let's say, NYC or the top tier universities just because they are top tiered, right?
Mhm.
So even Georgia Tech is at a good ranking and it is renowned as well. But then there are few universities, they might offer you this scholarship or tuition fee waiver or something, but they might not, rank on the top tier list. So, uh, is it okay to still go ahead and make that application, or just stay back in India and gain the experience and stay wherever we are and progress?
So I think you can go ahead. The reason I'm telling
Mhm.
you is like if you wait for 1 year, what you do in
Mhm.
that 1 year in India is very important. So a
Mhm.
lot of people, firstly, you can't change your grades. The 4 year of bachelor's grades that you have already have scored, that you can't
Yeah.
change. You can't
Right.
change your projects or maybe internships. All you can do is
Right.
maybe add some work experience to it.
Mhm.
That is one thing
Mhm.
that you can change. You can add more research papers, more freelancing you can do. So if that
Mhm.
is actually really adding a lot of impact to your resume, then you can do that. But if
Mhm.
not, then I would recommend it's okay. You can go ahead with a normal university also, like a top 40, top like so NYC, NYU University is top 50, I think. It's not
Mhm.
even
True.
in the top 10 or top 20.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so I think, but the craze of that university is because a lot of people just know it because
Mhm.
of New York, because of the
Yeah.
location. But yeah, there are a lot of universities. I feel it does not matter in the US. Only the alumni network will be different, but that's
Mhm.
fine. Then now you can, get connected with people on LinkedIn. If you
Mhm.
want to get connected with better people. And I think
Right.
people do respond. Like if you send 100 cold emails, one person will definitely respond.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. True, true, true. Makes sense. So as you said, like the university doesn't matter. Like I mean, the ranking doesn't matter really. But if you are, covered financially, and if you are getting a alumni network which is decent enough, or you can just, go through LinkedIn and stuff to make a to have a really good connection, right? Now, one other question is like in my DMs, and I'm sure you might be getting the same question as well, that I'm about to graduate, I'm in my third year or fourth year, right?
Yes.
And now I'm thinking to move abroad. So I have dilemma. Is this the right decision for me right now as a fresher, or should I gain 1 or 2 years of experience and then move abroad? So what would be your take on that?
So I feel initially, like when we came, it was
Mhm.
mostly about a very standard template was being followed, wherein they will ask a few lead code questions. A lot of questions were available on Chegg. A lot of questions
Mm.
were available on Stack Overflow. So it was very easy for people
Mm.
to clear rounds.
Mm.
Now it's completely based on skills, and that's why people are finding it difficult,
Mm.
because now if you have the right skills you will get hired. If not, you won't get hired.
Mm.
And so even I interview at Walmart recently. I started interviewing at Walmart as well, so I completely see a lot of people cheat also a lot. Like
Ah.
we, even though they know the answers properly, they will cheat, and that's when we reject them completely. Because
Mm.
even if you have the skills, but if you find the need to cheat, and now even the interviewee understands if you are cheating or not, because
Correct,
everyone
correct,
uses AI. So you can't, your eyeball movement or anything, the way you are typing and all of that, it's very evident. So I feel that the only difference in this market that you
correct.
should consider is whether you have the right skills.
Mm.
Can actually build the skills beforehand. So what I had done is the six
Mm.
months before coming to my master's degree, I had
Mhm.
started preparing for lead code, because I knew I'm not very good enough in the competitive coding and all of that, because MIT did not give me that exposure that much.
Right.
So 6 months before I started doing lead code, I started doing system design. I started brushing up my skills on Java or JavaScript, Node.js, all of that, which I had in my resume. So only the
Right.
skills that you definitely have in your resume, you can brush up at least those skills. So you will be very prepared to start applying the moment you land in the US.
Okay.
So a lot of people, like initially Amazon and a lot of other companies used to only ask lead code questions, and it was very easy and straightforward, but now it's not straightforward, and that's why people are, getting shocked and
Yeah.
in a dilemma. But I feel it's okay. Like it's the same. If you have the skills, you are going to crack it.
Hmm. And the way to build skills is just like, go deep into whatever you want to do, and just have the skills ready before coming to US. Because then if you come to US or any other country, then you have other things, like you have to do laundry, you have to do
Yes.
household chores and go for grocery shopping. Then you don't really have time and more of energy to study,
Right,
actually, like,
right,
sit
right.
down and study. Okay, makes
Like
sense.
to add to that, I feel even
Hmm.
doing projects would really help, because
Hmm.
projects is where your hands-on skills are applied. And more importantly, how you write the code is definitely important, but how you think about the business impact of it is also important, because now AI can write the code for you, right? So what
Correct.
you can do is actually channelize how a business impact could be, your code could have a business impact, how it could actually impact the end user, the end customer. That's what we actually also check at Walmart, because that is also a very important skill. People can't visualize, people can't design systems, even low level, high level design in any way.
Mm,
I think that is very important. Your knowledge on infra is very important, because that is something
right.
that AI might not, I mean, it'll take time,
Mm.
but code is something that AI can definitely write.
Correct, correct, correct. Makes sense. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I have similar opinion that code can be written, but if you have the domain knowledge, then let's say the output from the AI, if it is 10x, then it can be 100x if you have the domain knowledge.
Right.
And just to add on that, I have a follow-up question, like how is it, mindset wise, how is it different in terms of US students and compared to the Indian education system and the students surrounding you? Because I'll give you my perspective. So when I was doing undergraduate, so it was more of, theory based thing like data structures and algorithm. I wrote a data structure algorithm paper. But
Yeah.
whereas when I did masters here, I was doing business analysis, so we were given actual real data of a e-commerce store here, which is there already, the till data, the RFID tags and everything. And they were told, this is your assignment. Find whatever you could find, which item is selling more and all that. And that's your assignment. That's it. No exam, nothing. This is the assignment.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to what you said. Like, exactly,
Mhm.
the assignments were very similar, wherein they are more practical and pragmatic and
Mhm.
process oriented, and it's nothing is theoretical. So, first time when I actually looked at the machine learning course, I was shocked, because the machine learning that was taught in MIT was completely different. It was so theoretical, and here we were actually taught algorithms. We were actually taught mathematical equations. Like, I never knew that data structures and algorithms would be so mathematical, and I had to revise my foundational concepts about mathematics before
Right. Right.
to actually crack those concepts. So yes, definitely, I also agree completely with you.
And like, was it very difficult for you to cope up with the education system there, or how was that process?
Yes, initially in the first semester it was very difficult,
Mm.
because you are like, I don't know, I have been a topper at MIT. So for me it was so difficult, like how I used to study back then. Completely all those rules and everything was shattered, because it's completely opposite, it's completely different. So I had to reinvent a new method of how I should study, how I should approach things. And in that, my the roommates around me, the people around me,
Mhm.
that actually helped a lot, because I
Mhm.
used to see and observe how those people study. Because in NIT and IITs, I don't think the approach is more towards theoretical learning. It is again a more conceptual based learning. So observing them, it actually really helped me to develop my problem solving skills, and not the ratta skills that we are generally taught in India.
Right, right, right,
Yeah.
right. Makes sense. Could you just share a few methods? Like you said, you changed the whole learning mechanism of yourself. So could you just share a few things if you know top of your head?
Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So, while writing code, right?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
it's a very simple thing. Like, when we solve lead code, I'll give you a very
Mhm.
simple example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, when we are solving lead code problems, what I used to do is I used to try and remember solutions. And that
Okay.
is something that a lot of people do inadvertently. That is not something
Mhm.
that we intend to do, but inadvertently we know, okay, number of islands, this is the method how you should solve. Or,
Right.
certain problems you just know. But that is a completely wrong method, because then if there's a new problem, you won't know how to solve it.
Correct.
So analyzing the patterns of what exactly, like, if when you solve multiple questions, you can analyze a common pattern. It may be in dynamic programming or data structures or any other domain. You can definitely analyze patterns. So I started studying and identifying patterns first. And then first, when I see any question, I used to identify and connect it to the pattern that I had recognized, and then
Mhm.
solve it. Even I think for you can give mock interviews with your colleagues. That really helps. So
Okay.
with a lot of students in my college, and also a lot of students that I had from Pune, my friends, I used to give a lot of mock interviews. So they will ask you random questions, because
Mhm.
a lot of companies like Google, they will ask you completely a use case driven question, which is completely vague. It is not from lead code, not from check, or you've not seen that question. So how you analyze the question and try to answer it is very
Mhm.
important, because it can involve multiple data structures. It's not like just one data structure and you have to solve it.
Makes sense.
So I think analyzing patterns is very important.
Yeah, I think Yeah, I mean, completely agree to that. It's more even in terms of like I didn't do computer science, so it was
Mhm.
more on the data analysis side of things. So it was more of business use case. Like they literally gave us business case studies for every single subject and every single
Mm.
topic, and like just do your thing and that's it. And one more shock was the plagiarism that
Oh
you
yes.
like
Yes.
coming from, I mean, I don't know if I should share this, but like we usually copy the assignments and like share, or there would be some topper who will be helping you in your assignments and everything. But here it's more of, okay, I'll just give you the concept, but then everything has to be your own thing, because if you're
Yes.
caught in plagiarism, then the consequences are not really great. So yeah, that's one of the things.
Yeah, so I think for plagiarism also, what we used to do is we used to discuss at a high level, with roommates or with other classmates,
Hmm.
what could be the approach for it. But then you explain it in your own way, you write your own examples. So I think that will help in avoiding plagiarism.
Okay, makes
Yeah,
sense.
so there were a lot of discussion groups, study groups in Georgia Tech for sure, where people used to sit in the library and discuss in general the approach. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so it will be like you discuss the more broader perspective and
Mm.
then write it in your own words, basically.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense. I will just take you slightly backwards again while you were, like in the process of applications and everything. So could you just walk me through your application process? How was it? Because for US, I know it's very difficult, first of all, and like even the visa process, you have an interview and everything. So people are
Yeah.
generally very nervous. I was very happy because Ireland, it's basically like just submit the documents and that's it. But for US, I would really like to know your thoughts. The whole
Yeah,
process,
so
actually.
for me, I had not a good score in GRE. So I
Mm.
scored 317 out of 340 in GRE,
Mm-hmm.
which is not considered a good score if you want to, crack, you want 320 plus if you want to
Okay.
crack top US universities,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. So a lot of people told me don't apply to, like, I applied to a lot of ambitious universities, and a lot of people told me don't apply. But I just thought, and a lot of people also told me re-give your GRE exam or TOEFL exam. TOEFL, I had a good score, but for GRE, I did not. And a lot of people told me re-give. But
Mm-hmm.
frankly, I had a good score in mathematics and quant, and I
Okay.
had a bad score in verbal. So the thing
Mm.
is, if you re-give your GRE exam after 1 month or 2 months, you can't change your language skills. Language is something that you learn over a period of time. So
Right.
suddenly you won't be as verbose, and you won't be that good suddenly in 2 months. So I think
Mm-hmm.
if you are considering re-giving any GRE exam or any other exam, please consider what score that you're trying to improve and then decide. So I did not give my GRE again. So I started applying. I did early applications. So November, 1st, 2nd November is generally the deadline for a lot of a priority deadline for a lot of universities. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried to cover a lot of applications before November itself. Like in October itself, I started doing my applications. So you have to plan accordingly. You have to give your GRE before, like in August itself. You have to get done with your TOEFL in September, so that you have like a 1 month to prepare for your SOP and get your letters of recommendation. So
Right.
that is, I think, timeline is very important if you want to, because a lot of universities also have first come first serve basis admission.
Right.
So the earlier you apply, it's definitely better. So that is one tip that I would like to give. I think second is a lot of people don't consider the tuition.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that is one thing, that because a lot of universities will give you a scholarship, but the scholarship
Okay.
is a bait. That's the problem. Like NYC will give you,
Uh-huh.
NYU will give you, like, it has a 80 90 lakhs I-20 amount, but it will give you like a 10 lakh, like 8,000, $10,000. That is around 8 9
Mm-hmm.
lakh scholarship. And people feel, oh, I'm getting like a 8 9 lakh scholarship. That is a big deal in India, but it is not in the US. Like, that's a bait for you to just take that university. So don't
Mm.
fall into traps. Understand the concept of return of investments before you go.
Makes.
Third is, I think, the batch size is, considering batch size is very important. So as I mentioned, if you get a TA or RA, or tuition
Mm-hmm.
fee can be waived off. But
Mm-hmm.
for some universities, even if they have this thing to waive off the tuition, some universities have like a 800, 900 batch size. Now, with so much competition, of course, a teacher will have like 20, 25 TAs, right? So all the people can't get a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship.
Mm.
So you have to really understand what is the batch size. So for Georgia Tech, the batch size is relatively very low.
Mm.
So that is one factor I considered. Also, weather conditions is also one factor that you should consider, I feel, because it can be very
Yeah.
depressing.
Oh my God. Yes.
I don't know. People don't understand back in India. It's completely fine, because when you
Right.
come here, it hits you really hard. So that is one thing that you should
Winter
consider.
depression is something
Yeah.
it's really bad during the gloomy weather and everything. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So you said like the batch size and everything. So this all information anyone can just find it out from either the alumni who have like search people who have already been to Georgia Tech, just drop them a DM or any university and then just get to know how is the competition.
So there is a app called as a Yocket, which has
Hmm.
all the information about US universities. It's a
Okay.
website. So
Okay.
back then we used to use Yocket, which had like the ranking of the university, how many people go there, and then how many people have gotten admit into that university previously in the last year. So you can
Hmm.
actually contact those people on Yocket, ping them, or
Hmm.
maybe contact them on LinkedIn.
Right.
Anyway,
Right. Right.
yeah.
Makes sense.
So that would
Okay.
really help.
And like your GRE score was, I mean, it was not considered as a good score, right? So how
For
did
Georgia
you?
Tech, yes, for Georgia
Yeah,
Tech, it
for
is
sure.
good.
But then how did you get the admit letter? Was it with the
Yeah.
SOP or?
So Georgia Tech, sorry for GRE and TOEFL are
Hmm.
elimination criteria. They are not selection criteria. That's what people don't
Hmm.
understand. Competitive
Okay.
exams are to eliminate, and especially in GRE, if you are doing a tech degree, then definitely quant like maths is the elimination criteria. They won't check verbal, like it's a basic verbal score that they want, but
Hmm.
quant is the main score that they want. So you have
Hmm.
to decide based on your degree what skill they are looking for, and then
Got it.
accordingly decide. So I think my score throughout bachelor's helped. My projects helped because if you have projects that are you're adding a unique value, like the project topic can be a normal topic, but if
Hmm.
you're adding a new feature to it, which something people have not done before, then that
Hmm.
project it really helps. And then you can publish a research paper on that project too. So that will also help. So
Okay.
I had a lot of IEEE research papers, and then one research paper we had submitted to IIT Bombay also. So that also helped a lot. Then
Wow.
I had internship. I had just one internship, which was, I think, my mistake. I did not have the exposure. I think you should do like three, four internships throughout your bachelor's.
Okay.
And 2 years of work experience I had. So I had
Hmm.
work experience in a startup. So I got placed in Deloitte in MI from, but I
Hmm.
left that because I thought that it won't add a lot of value to my resume. So I joined a startup instead. And a lot of skills that at that time that were very famous, Angular and React and Node. In 2019, they were like
Yeah. Yeah.
the languages. I actually worked on those projects. So that
Hmm.
actually helped me to crack Walmart also, and even Georgia Tech. So the letters of recommendations are also of that quality, right? So
Right. Right. Right.
yes,
Right. Right. Makes sense.
focus on the quality of your resume.
Okay. Now, if let's say someone is watching, most of my audience is around like third year or fourth year,
Hmm,
right? Like young professionals who are, trying to get into masters or something.
hmm.
So let's say for the first 2 semesters, they don't have really great grades, even let's say third semester. So would it be wise to say that, okay, despite of having not so great grades, and let's say if you have 7.5 or 7 plus CGPA or what is it, CGPA, yeah, GPA or whatever, that should be fine. But then now knowing that you are lacking on that academic side of things, you
Yes.
just start building up projects, start publishing papers. And in last year of we have this thesis thing like black book, which
Hmm,
we call,
hmm. Yes.
which we call it as. So just focus on publishing on as many papers as possible, and if you can publish an IEEE, that's great. By the way, I had one and I know how difficult it is. How I don't know how did you manage to do multiple. So that is something which will make your application stand out,
Hmm.
right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes. You have to compensate in some domain or the other, definitely. And if you feel that you're lacking in some other domains, then maybe increase your work experience. That will also help.
So yeah, I think most of them do not really focus on getting an internship, and I think nowadays it has become very difficult to find a full time itself.
Hmm.
So getting an internship would be much more difficult in your third or fourth year, is what I'm guessing in India right now.
So I feel like I think getting paid internship is difficult. But then why do you
Ah,
want paid internship?
right,
So the thing is in India, where, like I think we have also done this mistake wherein we are
right, right,
very money minded and we are like, Arey, we won't do unpaid internships. But the thing is, you will learn a lot of skills that you
right.
won't, learn otherwise if you sit at home. So
Hmm.
do any internship, paid or unpaid. Get referrals from your family members. Koi to mil jayega. I think it will be possible. So just focus on learning skills.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean, this was a very small information, but yeah, it just opened my mind in this whole conversation. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, and now while writing the SOP,
Hmm.
I think SOP, LOR, and all these grades. Let's say you now nailed it down. You have the grades, you have the experience, you have the LOR from the people which you have worked with
Yeah.
and everything. How to nail down an SOP? And also, just one caveat here is like not using ChatGPT, because that again is being caught in the new plagiarism software,
Plagiarism,
right?
yes.
Turnitin. So yeah.
Oh, yes. So I had a plagiarism story. So what I did is I had, when I wrote my SOP, I wrote it myself and then I
Mm-hmm.
uploaded it on Turnitin to check the
Mm-hmm.
plagiarism. And they have a button which says save to database. And I think by default, it got to save to their database. And then any
Oh,
university that I apply to, they will get that as plagiarized because it's already in their database. So it was 100% plagiarism. So
shit.
I think I was the only student from my college that had written emails to universities after I applied that this has happened. It is me only who has saved it to Turnitin. Please consider me. And they were also very shocked that, who does that? But yeah, so I
Yeah.
feel sometimes being extra cautious is also, it hampers. Don't do that.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But talking about SOP, so I feel SOP should be not a literal translation of your resume. So I've seen this
Mm,
mistake a lot of people are doing,
mm,
wherein resume they will copy paste and they will just make it into sentences and write.
mm.
But that is not what they are looking for. Your SOP should have the learnings that you have from your experience. So
Okay.
the technical details of the project, research papers, internships experience you write in your resume. But what did you learn from those each of those experiences is what you write in your SOP, and then how that those skills will help you to do a master's degree.
Mm,
That you have to mention in your SOP. That is very important.
okay.
People don't write learnings at all. People don't write impact at all. That is important.
Again, I think when I did via few, what do you call them, consulting
Mhm.
agencies, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't ended up going with one of the good ones, but before I had really bad experience and they were pushing me to other universities with the SOP specific part. They had this template. They said like, if you want to write an SOP, just use this template, which was writing about growing up as a kid. I was interested in computer science. That's like in seventh grade, I got my first personal computer. That's when I was like, oh, yes, this is something I want to explore. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, fair. Why do you want to write all this? And even here, I was talking to one of the professors who is usually looking into like skimming through the applications and reading those SOPs. That the professor mentioned that all of your applications, most of them are more of like, if we don't get the masters, we probably gonna die, or like life will go downhill and everything. And
Yes.
hence we usually end up choosing few candidates, but that's not the way one should write an SOP. So this makes sense, like learning and like that. But can we just dive into one example and then we'll move forward? Like, say for
Uh,
example, yeah, yeah, you can take it forward.
uh, so let me. So a very simple example again. So say
Mm-hmm.
for example, I am describing about me going to present my IEEE paper at IIT Bombay.
Mm-hmm.
So I will mention more about my soft skills there, and of course my research skills. So research is not my domain. I have been a technical student. I have been like I'm applying for my masters, but that project and working on that project and research paper actually helped me analyze the research oriented skills as well, the analytical skills, because I have to be open ended, right? Like I have to be broad minded. I can't be, okay, this is how the code is written. It can't be very fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So that mindset shift is something that actually I learned through that process of researching. Second is I can also mention about my soft skills. So when I presented the paper, of course a lot of people also presented and everyone was very good at their oratory skills. So how I practiced, how I made sure I am also good enough, to sit in that environment where everyone is so good. So writing about soft skills and your professional skills from that experience, which will actually help you in your masters, because now in your masters when I am doing a TA, I have to interact with students, right? So if my oratory skills are good, if the skills of how I explain things are very clear in very simple manner, but yet the message is very clear, then that will help the students. So these skills which I learned from my presentation at my research work, it actually helped me here. So something like this, you have to connect the dots. Why would they
Right.
want to hire you? Sorry, why would they want to give you an admit, right? So there are 100 other applications, and as you mentioned, starting your SOP with growing up and all of that.
ChatGPT.
I feel it is very cliche, and everyone does that. So one thing that I'd done is I reached out to people who had gotten admitted into MIT, Stanford. I googled their SOPs and then I checked. So consider only the top US universities or any other universities in the world, and then just check how they write SOPs. And
Hmm.
then try to analyze what worked for them, what did not work for them, and then write. So I did not, I also joined a consultancy, but they helped me to shortlist universities, but I did not take their SOP. So I wrote my own
Right.
SOP.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Yeah.
One more thing. Now you can use ChatGPT here.
Yes.
Is like get all those documents, get all those SOPs from the big universities. People even getting 100% scholarship, 50% scholarship. Get those, feed it to ChatGPT, and ask him to analyze the tonality, the structuring, the
Right.
formatting, everything. The number of words, the number of sentences, the length of sentences, the
Hmm.
emotions, and everything. Just ask him to analyze everything, then you have the whole structure, you have everything, and now take that structure and just write your own story. That's it.
Right.
But
Exactly.
yeah, thank you so much. Thanks
Yeah.
for the
Also, to add to
information.
that, I feel like what I like whenever I ask ChatGPT or Claude AI or Perplexity or any AI tool, I
Mhm.
feel the way they the content that they give, right? Even if I use it for content creation, also the content that they give is very generic.
Hmm.
Everybody knows it. So when you give all of these SOPs, as you mentioned, to analyze the tonality, you also give your experiences and your
Hmm.
resume, and then the English framing and how it has to be presented, that is done by ChatGPT. That you let
Right.
it do, and like by analyzing the tonality and all of that from the previous SOPs
Mhm.
and the format. But the experiences should be of your own, so that it seems authentic. If it is not
Right.
authentic, like why would people select you?
Hmm.
So the content should be authentic. How it
Correct,
is
correct, correct.
presented can be definitely enhanced.
Yeah. So this was one of the advice I gave to my friend, that create a different chat
Hmm.
and give every information. Like, so she had this impression that you only get scholarship, if you do extracurriculars and other stuff, which in a way could be, I don't know, could be right, could be wrong. It's debatable. But then I said, see, if even if you have not done that, what you do is just create another chat, explain everything. Like,
Hmm.
since growing up, whatever projects, whatever side gigs, whatever, like even if you put a lemon stand or anything, just put it there, write everything, and then ask him if there are any relevant experience which you can use in your SOP for this particular application for this particular university by analyzing the SOPs which were cracked. So it's like that's the ultimate way to use AI.
Yes, exactly. Yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
makes sense. How was your experience, like university experience? How was it?
So I think initially it was very overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
because the people around me were super smart, and I used to always question myself that how am I going to even graduate or be able to do well in those courses as well. But from the second semester onwards, I figured it out. It will take one semester for you to get adjusted to everything, to the new country, to people around you, to the culture and how they study, how living with roommates, living out of your parents' house, all of that. I think it's a learning experience, but it'll just mentally be prepared that the first semester is going to be bad, and that's fine. So if you can take lighter courses in the first semester, a lot of people just take the most heavier courses, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel you should do the opposite. First semester is to focus on internships. Like the moment you land, you should apply to internships. Like in August itself, people come to the US in fall,
Mm-hmm.
and you should start applying to internships immediately, because a lot of companies like Salesforce, they I think get done with their interview process by September, so they're done. Yeah,
Wow.
and other companies like Google, Walmart, Meta, all of them are done by November and December, before the holiday season.
Mhm.
So you have to be on your toes. So I
Right.
think, yeah, you should be well prepared before coming. And first semester, take lighter courses, and from once you get an internship, then you can take the more difficult courses.
You can legally do internships, right? Because what I have heard, I think you can't do the part-time outside your university campus, something like
Hmm.
that, legally. So is it okay to do the internships
So
in these?
internship you can do after 9 months of entering the US. So when
Hmm.
I come in August, that is for the
Hmm.
fall semester, you can do
Hmm.
a summer internship, that is May
Huh.
of the next year. But till then, but the interview process and all is done by December.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to be very prepared,
Okay. Makes
because
sense.
all the in the second semester you will get internships, but those will be in startups, not in product based companies, or not in the companies or locations might you might want, right?
Hmm.
So that is the reason. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Now, we'll dive into more of this, how to get an internship and how to get a job ultimately, because that's the end goal. So first, maybe do you want to touch base with resume and then take it forward, or let's start with what worked for you? Is it referrals, resume, or how was your process? And then we'll, like, if I have any questions, I'll just ask around.
Yeah. So I think I started applying immediately in August for internships. So as I told you, I was very much prepared with lead code before coming to the US, and that helped a lot. And I think I was giving interviews after interviews. So it was not like I was applying to top companies. I applied to every company that is possible. Like every day I
Mm.
used to give submit hundreds of job applications and get rejected every day by 10, 15, 20. And I think I gave interviews for two or three companies, out of which I got an offer from Walmart. To get a job offer, I think getting via the internship route is much easier.
Hmm.
So I put more effort into getting an internship rather than getting a job offer, because internship, of course, the number of rounds will be two or three,
Hmm.
while for a full time offer, it will be six or seven. So
Hmm.
definitely, getting an internship is much easier. So
Right.
you have to put all your energy into getting an internship first. Talking about, yeah, sorry.
Opposite, go in opposite direction, but still, staying intact, and then moving on to the next application with the same energy and with the same enthusiasm. So that gap, I wanted to ask, like, how what was your mental coping mechanism?
Yeah, so I think initially it was very difficult again, because you're not used to getting 10 rejection emails every single day. Every morning you wake up and there are rejection emails. And firstly, you need to understand that they are automated emails. They are automated rejections. So it is nothing personal to you or your resume. Hardly 1% of the resumes get selected. So one tip I would like to give here is use referrals. I did not use referrals while applying for my internships, because I thought that I can ask for referrals only from the people I know. But actually, that's
Hmm.
not true. You can actually ask anyone, right? You can ping a lot of people on LinkedIn. Ping for one company, ping 15, 20 people, and at least one person will respond and give you
Hmm.
a referral.
Okay.
Send cold emails to a lot of people. Reach out on Instagram, like as well. Like a lot of people actually reach out on Instagram as well for referral. So I would suggest for every company, at least message 20, 30 people about getting a referral. And if you're not getting a referral in a stipulated period of time from the time the job was posted, apply, because
Hmm.
applying is more important than applying via referral.
Hmm.
So because sometimes the people won't respond and then it will take forever. So yeah, you should apply early. But I did not apply via referrals, and that was the biggest mistake, I think, because a lot of people applied to Meta via referral and they got at least
Hmm.
the interview call. Then after you
Right.
get the interview call, then everything is in your hands.
Hmm.
But getting the interview call is not in your hands.
With the referral, I don't know, like, I did try that myself, but there's always this thing going on in the back of your mind, like, why would anyone take their time and refer me because they don't know me, and why would anyone even reply or see or accept my connection request, right? So that is something which holds you back. It
Yeah.
happened in the same way, like, I was thinking, oh, I'll reach certain milestone and then I'll text you, because why would Devshri reply to some random person who is texting, right? So that's the thing which goes on.
I think that is again, we brought up in India. We, I think, have that we have that hesitation of, the other person not responding. But
Hmm.
it's okay. Like, I mean, we have the hesitation that we might get rejected, and we have that fear always. But it's okay, right? I mean, if you get used to getting failures every single day and getting rejections every single day, it actually really helps you a lot. So don't hesitate, and it's okay. Like if people don't respond, but people do. Like I also refer a lot of random people that I don't
Hmm.
even know. So
Makes
it's
sense.
okay. Like because we understand that we've been through the process, so
Right.
now we know.
Right.
So I think even they have been through the process, right? They understand, and
Hmm.
yeah. So if but definitely you will find some alumni network from your college, like from MIT. I found
Mhm.
so many people who are working in PayPal, Salesforce, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, a lot of companies like Meta.
Mhm.
So I think I reached out to those people first, because if you have a bachelor's connect, it helps, because it's like
Got
a
it.
more deeper connect, wherein they also know that okay, you are also from Pune, you're also from that the same bachelor's college.
Mhm.
So that will help. If not, then reach out to Georgia Tech alumni as well, because that is,
Okay.
I think, a lesser, not that strong of a connect as compared to what you have in back in India, I feel.
Right. Makes sense. Makes sense. And even if, like, just I have to go out of the way and there's no connection, I mean, which is highly unlikely, because there would be someone, at least from your master's university or from your bachelor's university, working in that particular domain or the company. But let's say it's not there, but still just apply, just drop a text.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think you can then relate to their skills. Like, I think you
Huh.
can look at their skills, whatever they have, and everything is mentioned right on LinkedIn. So you can just look at their skills and then ask them that, I also have those skills. And that's why I feel that I am, a good candidate for the position. And that's the
Hmm.
reason I feel that, can you please refer me? So something or the other you'll find definitely.
Wow. Yeah, actually, that's a very simple way of asking a referral. Like, you did this, you are at this position. I do have the skills, but I'm not at position. Please help me.
Yeah. Like,
Hmm.
for example, I had done a blind stick, a smart blind stick project in my
Mm-hmm.
bachelor's, and which was
Hmm.
a common project. Like, a lot of people are doing it. And based on that project, they ask for referrals now. So they ping me now that, we have also done the same project, smart blind stick for the blind people.
Right, right.
And I think, please, can you refer me as well? I feel we have a very similar skill set.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So let's say now you got the job, you got the internship, and now you are, is it easy like company for companies to, from internship, I'll be like, okay, she has done the internship here. So now her internship is about to end, and then you have to, apply or ask your manager to, give you the full-time role, or how does like, do you have to apply again?
No,
How
no.
does
So
that
we have
work?
to ask our manager, and if the company has openings, and if the you have also performed very well in the
Mm-hmm.
internship, so there are multiple factors, and they have the budget, the org has the budget, then
Mm-hmm.
they will definitely offer. So, like most companies have an intern program through which
Mm-hmm.
multiple interns are hired, and then that intern program will have certain amount of capacity for conversion. So then, if you fit and mark, like check all the boxes, definitely you will get a return offer. So that is the best way of getting a job. But in the last semester, like when I was in my last semester and about to graduate, I already
Mm-hmm.
had a Walmart offer, but I thought that maybe a lot of job offers were getting revoked.
Revoked, yeah.
So what if it gets revoked? I don't have any backup. So I started applying to a lot of companies, and that's when I got a Google interview call for Google as well. So that I had applied via referral. So referral
Mm.
really helped me in my final last semester job process as well.
Okay. 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 Now it makes sense. Why is this? And how is the work culture, work life balance like? So in Europe, it's more of after 9 to 5, no one will really bother. You have
Hmm.
28 days off. They don't care where you are during your annual leave, unless you are a manager or like at a higher post, which also makes sense because they are paying and they in return they expect something. But again, that behavior is very less. But usually it's very chill
Hmm.
and everything. So how is that in US?
So I think it is very similar for most companies. Like most companies where there are more Americans
Mm,
or more local people, they're quite similar. Wherein 9 to 5, and then after 5 p.m. people won't, budge you unless and until it's a production issue and you really have to be there. And weekends they won't trouble you for sure. So I think that's the
mm.
reason I'm also able to do content creation. I think even for you it
Right.
might be the same because we have a work life balance. Frankly, there are a lot of companies that they're very toxic in their work culture. Like I feel like Amazon, it is again depends on your team, but most
Mm,
teams in Amazon I feel are they have a lot of workload, and they have workload even on weekends. They have to work till 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. sometimes. I have a lot of friends in Amazon. A lot of people from Pune are in Amazon. So I
mm,
think yes, it is. So it again depends upon the company. Like for example, Tesla, Amazon, Netflix, they have a lot of work, and
mm,
so it really depends on the company. So I think when you reach out to people, right, they will also give you a feedback about how the work culture is there. You will, and whether then you can decide whether that aligns with your aspects or not. For example, for some people in their 20s, they want to earn a lot of money and they don't want a work life balance, and that's
makes sense.
completely fine.
Right, right, right.
Yeah. So it to each to its own. So I think you just ask people. Yeah.
What is your take? Like this is other than the podcast. Now I'm asking my personal stuff because since you are like few years ahead of this of in this journey, so
Hmm.
I usually feel is because in your early 20s you should it says like you should be hustling in your job, earning more, and why do you need a work life balance? So sometimes that thing gets to me and I feel guilty that okay, I am like having work life balance, even content, it's not taking much of a time, but again, content I just started recently, last year.
Yeah.
So is it fair to think in that way that okay, you are having a work life balance, it's fine, it's or like there's some, because I get this mental block that okay, I have a work life balance, life is so chill, I need to do something to make it like adventurous. Does it need to be adventurous?
So I feel that yes, you should hustle. I am in that domain. But the
Yeah.
thing is, hustle for
Same.
whom? That is also one thing, right? So,
Huh.
hustle for yourself is the best kind of hustle that you can do. So, I think definitely after 9 to 5, in 9 to 5, definitely you're working for the company.
Company, right.
But after, like, from 5 to 9, what you do is what decides and builds your future, I feel. And
Hmm.
5 to 9 is actually where the hustle begins, wherein you are working on your gym, maybe, your physique,
Correct.
when you are working on content, like helping other people and creating on YouTube or Instagram or wherever. So
Hmm.
that really helps. And in other ways also, like maybe mentally relaxing is also the effort that you're putting for yourself. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel hustle should be there, but a lot of people just hustle for work for somebody else's company and not for themselves. So I
Hmm.
feel 20s may hustle should be there, but for
Hmm.
yourself, you should prioritize yourself as well. So if you're giving 40 hours to in a week for some other company, give 40 hours to yourself as well.
Nice. That's actually a good analogy, that hustle, but for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll take
Because
that.
I feel job is a very symmetric return, right? I mean, it's like 9 to 5 you
Mm.
work, you get paid for those 9 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
But in content, like I think I'm sure you know that, like a reel can go 5,000, 50,000, 5 million. And if it
Hmm.
really reaches 5 million, the returns are so asymmetric, then you can
Mm-hmm.
actually connect with so many new people.
Hmm.
And like we connected, like it's so amazing that you can connect across countries. And I
Right.
think that is the best thing, that
It
asymmetric
was,
returns is the best thing. And
yeah.
you should try to focus on asymmetric returns when you're doing 5 to 9.
This was one of your reels,
Yes,
this or
yes.
the
I
last
think
week, right?
I really
Asymmetric
believe in
return.
this. Yeah.
True, true, true. Makes sense. Because, okay, so one more thing was, I was guilty about, okay, hustle. So 9 to 5, let's say you're working on something, and then now you want to maybe go for the senior roles. So you'll have to study. But now you're doing content. So you have to choose, because you can't do
Yeah.
both. So that was, I think, where I was like, hmm, do I need a work life balance in work, at work, and like the rest of the time should I focus more to again put inputs into work, so that I will still give the 9 to 5, like let's say 7 8 hours, but the ROI which I'll be getting back will be more, because they'll pay me more, because of I am adding more skills and everything. So that was the whole delusion, that not delusion, the confusion, that should I focus on upskilling, so that you'll escalate the ladder,
Yeah.
or should you focus on content creation and then build some distribution and then build some business around it?
So actually, frankly, I also have that confusion still, wherein
Hmm.
I'm trying to,
Okay.
kind of like balance between both. So, to get a promotion even in your own company, it is
Hmm.
difficult because you have to really stand out. And so, yeah, I think I'm trying for both.
Hmm.
But the thing is, I feel if you try for one, you will take less time, right?
Hmm.
And then you will have to try for the other. Say if you take T1 time
Hmm.
to get a promotion, and then you get a T2 time to create content and maybe reach 100K, total time you are taking is T1 plus T2, because at some
Right.
point of your life one thing should take the forefront, and you have to prioritize that, and the other aspects will be on autopilot. That's what I keep saying, autopilot. It's like
Hmm.
working on your own, right? So I think it's T1 plus T2 total time, right? If
Hmm.
you work together, it's still T1 plus T2, but it's just towards the end it's different, right? I mean, both will happen after T1 plus T2 and not at a T1 phase or a T2 phase. So it's the same, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah, it actually, like, okay, makes sense, because even if you put time now,
Hmm.
it's T1. Dude, this equation, it's insane. Like, the whole part of, like, this was the one moment in this whole conversation until now, it's like blew my mind, literal sense. Like, okay, T1
Yeah.
plus T2, anyways, tum kuch bhi kar lo. Like, if you are investing time in studying right now, getting a promotion, anything, that's T1.
It's just when you get, so the thing is in India, like we have ki 30 tak we have to become a millionaire. Then
Hmm.
till after 30 we'll get married, then we'll have a personal
Hmm.
life and all of that.
Hmm.
If you take all four aspects of life together, then maybe by whatever achieve goals you wanted to achieve by 30, you are achieving by 40, but you have all four aspects of life, right?
Hmm.
You have achieved your health goals, your relationship goals, your career goals, and your money goals. But it's okay to be that at 40. Why do you want to be that at 30? So it's the same
Right,
thing. And I think
right.
by this mechanism, you don't get FOMO. If you remove time as the boundary, you won't get FOMO.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Like, genuinely, this is insane. This T1 plus T2 framework is genuinely insane. I've never thought in this sense, because same, I have similar goals of getting to million by 30, and that's the whole what is it? The the concept around the newsletter which I publish as well.
Right.
But like, okay, either you spend your time, whole time, entire time, not focusing on health, focus on everything until 30. But then, anyways, 30 se 30, 40 tak, you have to spend that time in your health, in your relationship, in your. So by 40, you will have all the aspects covered.
Hmm.
Now it's your. Do you want to cover aspect 1 and 2 by 30 and then work on 3 and 4 later on, or 1, 2, 3, 4 at the same time and have everything covered by. But anyways, you will be covering it at 40. Oh shit, this is insane. This is insane. Thank you so much for this.
Actually, I you know what?
Mhm.
I got to know this from Ankur Wariko. I think I follow his content a
Uh-huh.
lot. And I used to always visualize ki 40 tak, like I'll be like an auntie, or maybe, the boys also have like a bigger stomach and all. But being that fit, being so at the top of the game, and then being a good orator, giving speeches, and being a millionaire and all of that at 40 is
Mm,
crazy. Like, I never visualized my 40 like that. But now I do because of him, because I saw a real example in front of
mm,
me, like, which is very doable success, right? That, okay, by 40
mhm,
to ho jayega. So I think
mhm.
I'm okay now.
Makes
Initially
sense.
my 30 was my limit, but now I don't care.
Now
Time is not
40.
the limit anymore.
Okay, makes sense. Because you do feel FOMO by seeing few 20-year-olds, doing building business, online business,
Hmm.
and then we stuck in 9 to 5. I won't use the word stuck because that is something which is fueling our finances, paying bills,
Yes.
so that we can focus, keep our mind calm and focus on content or whatever business either of us are trying to build. So again, like, thanks. I'll journal this. Like, this is insane. Anyways, let's move forward. Thanks for this. So in Walmart or as a software developer, SDE role, if you're aiming for that, what are the skills one should have? And you had already mentioned that go to lead code and everything, but then again you also mentioned that it's not right now, it's not about just solving the lead code problems. So as a fresh graduate who is grades are average, who got into a decent university, Georgia Tech, how should they go about making those I mean, we talked about making applications, but in the interview, to crack that interview process, what and how should one prepare for
Uh,
SD?
right. So I think for lead code, I would definitely say do company specific questions. So
Mm,
initially you need to clear your foundations and do all data structures. And once you are done with that, then you do company specific questions based on the interview call that you get. Because when you get the interview call, it's generally next week. So you don't have time to revise all your data structure concepts or all the concepts, foundational concepts all over again. All you can do is company specific questions. So that is one thing that you can do. Second, I feel now low level design, high level design, system design, all these three aspects are also asked very frequently in a lot of companies. So I think even Walmart definitely asks. I also, for internship also, I got asked a system design question in my
okay.
last round. So I think you should be prepared for that, because now the competition is very tough, right? Because
Mm,
people are getting laid off, and then a lot of people are coming from India with the hope that they will get a job. So it's both ways, wherein companies are trying to lay off people and then hire both. Like, they are not just laying off people, companies are hiring as well.
mm, mm,
But it's like they're just laying off the talent that they feel that it's not required and it's not creating any business impact, and just gaining like more talent that they have better skills. So I think skills, again, the position that you're applying to, those specific skills mentioned, you should definitely know very well. Like, for example, we use Java. For front
mhm,
end, we use React, Angular, JavaScript. Then we also have all the cloud, like GCP, Azure,
mm,
AWS. Depending upon whichever company you're applying, you can actually ask those people, working in that company, what is the base infra used in that company. You will
right.
definitely get a lot of responses for sure. Because,
Right.
like, in our company, Java is used very primarily. For every backend, Java is used in Walmart.
Mm,
So you'll know what kind of questions you'll be asked, right? Like, if you know Java is the core language, then you
mhm,
will be definitely asked concepts about Java. So then definitely you can revise those concepts. So company specific preparation happens in that 1 week. But before that, I think while applying, you should also, when you're getting the referrals, you should also ask them about the skills, so that
mm.
just in case you get an interview call, you're very aware, and then you can prepare accordingly.
Okay, got it. And is so is it now, even now, is it okay to, in 2025, is it okay for someone to think about doing a master's uh, abroad, for an Indian audience or an Asian audience, to move to US and do their masters in 2025?
Yeah. So 2023 and 2024 were like the worst periods, I feel, when the tech recession really was bad. But I think now, once now Trump got elected and now everything is getting back to normal, it's not
Mm.
completely normal, but the layoffs have reduced, and a lot of people in my friend circle are also switching jobs, or they're getting new jobs as well. So I feel that it is improving. Of course, it's not as great as before, but definitely it is improving. So the people who apply right now might come in 2026, and they might need an internship for 2027. So I think back
Right.
till that time it should be okay, but frankly
Mm.
nobody can predict this. Like, what if you have another recession? So I get
True.
this question, like I get this question often in my DMs, and it is, I mean, I don't know how to explain, because it's
Mm.
very random. You just have to decide on the moment whether but you have to keep applying, like keep applying, have the admits ready. You can always defer, because when I applied, COVID hit, so I had to
Mm.
defer my admit by a year. So
Mm-hmm.
universities are quite flexible that way. So if you feel it's not the right time, you can defer by 1 year.
Correct. Okay, makes sense. And the teaching position or everything you got once you were in the university, and then you
Yes.
applied, and that's how it works. Okay.
Yes, but I feel you should, that also I got from second semester. So from
Mm.
my first semester, I had to pay my fees, and second and third semester, I got complete tuition waiver. So the first semester fees I repaid using my internship, and that's how by the time
Mm.
I graduated, I had $0 loan. But the thing is, a lot of people in Georgia Tech had a TA from the first semester, because they had a good alumni network. Like a lot of people from BITS or IIT and ITs, they had a good alumni network at Georgia Tech. So they already contacted their seniors and asked
Mm-hmm.
them which professors I should email beforehand. So before coming to the US, you should email professors. You should DM them on LinkedIn and ask them that these are my skills. They will take your interviews if required, and you will get a TA from the first semester. So it is very
Yeah.
important. Do it beforehand.
Damn. Yeah, it's like do your preparation. If you feel you're not ready, then probably you're not. Just don't go. But if you are like, okay, I have made my mind, I have to move abroad. I'm just worried about the nuances, like how will life be and everything. Then just prepare as much as you can, as like prepare your skills, DM people, build a network, and ask them about how are things. Even the current batch, which will graduate eventually,
Right.
while you are there, ask them, connect with them. Okay, makes sense. How is the tech scene in terms of like women in tech? Is there still that parity going on, or is it now normalized?
So I don't feel that at Walmart for sure,
Mm-hmm.
in my team, or because I think I used to feel that back in India, because back in
Mm-hmm.
India, if you're a girl and if you're giving opinions about tech, and it can get to the male ego, wherein, if even if you're technically correct, but it might not be perceived in that way. But
Mm.
here, irrespective of whichever, even if you're Indian, Chinese, Pakistani, or any
Right.
country, even if you're a girl or a boy, if you're technically correct, your opinions will be heard.
Mm.
You just need to know how to present them properly. And if you are
Mm.
clear enough in your head, and if you can explain it technically well, they will listen. Even the
Mm.
managers also, they listen. Like all of us call them by their name, right? We
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah.
like to say sir
Oh, that's a
or
culture
ma'am.
shock.
Yeah. So everyone is equal, unless and until if you can't express, because I think a lot of people have communication issues. In that case, it will be very difficult for you to grow
Mm.
in the hierarchy. Yeah.
Communication issues. Coming from like India, I
Hmm.
think I had this thing where you put people on pedestal, like the sir ma'am thing,
Hmm.
which is not true. Like, and even you with your senior managers, so explaining something, you always operate with fear, or there is something going on in your mind. And also, we most of us are like introverts, I don't know why. But like, how to improve on that side, communication. And also another question, I think it's actually intertwined, because once you change location, even you move from one city to another city, it's very difficult to make new friends, because you
Hmm.
don't know anyone there, and then you start feeling lonely. And we are social animals, like even though we self proclaim that I am an introvert, but if you stay that way, you will be mentally, you'll go crazy.
Hmm.
You can't operate.
Yeah.
So making friends is very essential, and the way you make friend is communicate, because you can't, like, how are you going to make friends, right? So how do you communicate well, coming with that mindset? I And also, what I see here is, maybe people go into that comfort. Okay, I will only talk to people like Indian, or desi, if you, I mean, if
Hmm.
you call them,
Hmm.
all the other Asian people, like you will feel that comfort. Okay, I can, talk with them. But when you're talking to someone who is from maybe US or Ireland or UK, whatever, you don't put your, like, it's not 100%. It's always like, what if they judge? What if this happens? So
Mhm.
have you faced that, and how to tackle with that?
I think so. The reason we put people on pedestal is because we feel that they can do something that we can't. I think that's the
Hmm.
primary thing. But
Hmm.
I don't know. I genuinely feel that people just know more things than what you know. That's all. That's why they're more successful.
Hmm.
It's just that. It's not something that they can do with what you can't. You can do everything. It's just that they have some information, like even in the hierarchy above in a company, your managers know more about at a high level about the organization, what should be the customer impact or business impact. And based on that, they make decisions which you don't have the visibility to. And that's the
Hmm.
reason you are at that position and you're not a manager. It's not something that you can't do. Once you know and you understand that, you will be able to do it yourself as well.
Right.
So understanding that, if you don't consider attach that person with that specific skill set, that okay, they are better than me
Hmm.
because they can do something that I can't do, is not
Hmm.
true. They just know something more that you don't know.
Right.
The moment you change this perspective, I think you would start treating everyone as equal, like
Hmm.
equal in terms of not like they don't, you definitely you have to learn from them a lot of skills, because of course they have
No,
also
I get it. Yeah.
evolved, but not in the time, like not in the case of intimidation. Like you are not intimidated by them, you are authentic the way you are, and you will ask questions. Like I think one thing that really helped me is asking questions.
Hmm.
Like if you get the more questions you ask, I think you get very comfortable with the other person, wherein it shows curiosity, right? Whether even
Hmm.
in personal relationships or professional relationships, it just shows curiosity that you want to build a connect with that person, a genuine
Right.
connect. So
Right.
asking questions really help, because in India I think we are not taught that we should ask questions. We're always
Hmm.
taught that we should know all the answers and that's all. We have to answer,
Correct.
but we don't know how to ask questions. I think even in
Hmm.
universities, you should ask questions to the professors.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, we usually shy around how would my pronunciation be,
Mm.
or this accent would be.
Yes.
So for that, I think it's just doesn't matter. You already know all the vocabulary, you know the basics. Just be clear, just be loud, so that you hear it, you can deliver the message well. And I think that's it. Anything in the terms of social
You mean friends?
friends, yeah, friends.
Okay. So I think in my case, I had a lot of people from Pune with me. In California and everywhere across US, I have all my 11th, 12th and MIT friends here.
Hmm.
So most of the people that I'm friends with are childhood friends.
Hmm.
We've grown up together, but definitely I've made more friends in Walmart or during my internship. And yeah, so I think being authentic really helped me a lot, because the way you are, if you present it the way you are, it will really connect with the other people. And because your authenticity will also be consistent, right? Consistently your behavior is the same because you're authentic every day. If Because I think I've observed this a lot of times, when people are fake, sometimes their mood is different, sometimes it's very different, and then that's
Hmm.
when you start losing friends or start losing interest or start losing trust on people. So if you're
Hmm.
same consistently, then I think people
Okay,
will befriend you. I don't think.
makes sense. Cool. I think I'll ask you like few more questions, and
Hmm.
that would be it. How does a day in your life looks like?
Hmm.
A day in Devshree's life, or a week as a content creator, as a software developer in Walmart,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
So I go to office currently only on Thursdays in person.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Currently, because there's a transition of moving to the new office currently at Walmart.
Right.
So it's just 1 or 2 days in the week that we go to office currently, but it will increase eventually. But so mostly I'm working from home. So I wake up around 6:37 in the morning, and generally I try reading my book. So in the
Mm.
morning, I love reading and having my chai. So I do that every day. I love that. And sometimes I go in the morning to the gym, or sometimes in the evening, depending upon whenever I have more meetings. Like sometimes we have late night calls as well, or sometimes
Mm.
we have early morning calls with the India team. So based on whenever the calls are, I decide the gym schedule. And then 9 to 5 is consistently just working, mostly meetings, and then we have a lot of issues to resolve, and mostly it is work from home, so definitely a lot of meetings after meetings.
Mm.
So that is one thing. And then I think I try to edit my content primarily on weekends. So I write and edit
Mm.
my content on weekends, because it is a very time consuming process, as you might also know.
Okay.
Editing takes the maximum time. So I try to do all the weekend, like all the content creation work on weekend, like as much as possible.
Mm.
because I feel on weekends I have to compromise a little bit on my social life sometimes. Because if I'm
Makes sense.
editing like a YouTube video, it'll take quite some time, and then like I definitely better. So yeah, I think little sacrifice is required if you want to do something at the side.
Makes sense.
Until the time that overpowers your 9 to 5, your 5 to 9 will require a lot of sacrifice. Yeah,
For YouTube, I have delegated that right now with the
yeah.
YouTube editors,
Okay.
because I thought that okay, it's taking a lot of time, and it's like the quality of the content is dropping because you have to sit and
Mhm.
edit. And then Instagram was also there, like most of our audience is on Instagram as well, so need to post on there. And then whole consistency was like, okay, let's get an editor, and then bro, that will be delegated, so it's much
Right,
better.
right, right, right.
Yeah, makes sense. And like you have given me three very good mental models for not having FOMO. That the T1 and T2, that's the insane one. So like, are you reading some books which is helping you? How are you so sorted? Like, okay, that's the very vague question, but yeah, is there any journaling practice you do? What are the things?
I think I don't do journaling as of now, but I think when I write content, that is my journaling, because that helps me clear a lot of thoughts when I'm writing the new script for my reel or YouTube video or anything else. That really helps me clear my thoughts. So that is definitely helping. But journaling would help if you're not a content creator, then journaling would definitely help to just untangle everything that is going in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't try to remember things at all. So everything is either scheduled, or it is like I schedule emails. I will write everything on my Kindle, like Scribble, but
Mm-hmm.
everything is written. I don't try to remember things at all. And that
Best.
really helps, because your brain is to not store data, it's to process, and that's very important.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I don't do that. But yeah, I think apart from that, not much. I think
Consuming from the right people.
I think reading books would be, yeah, and actually
Mm.
consuming from the right people, like as you said, content. I feel people say, right, you are the average of the 5 people. I feel you're the average of the 5 content creators you are
Content
following
creators.
nowadays.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
Makes sense.
consume the right content, and I think read also, because how much ever you consume, I think people can't replace books. Like books
Hmm.
are something that, and I generally read nonfiction.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people love reading fiction, but I love reading nonfiction, and mostly self help and personal growth books. So I read a lot of personal growth.
Any one recommendation for me?
Oh, I think
And
Naval Ravikant's book, Almanac
the
of Naval
Almanac of
Ravikant,
the.
is the ultimate book that anyone can read. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Any advice for your younger self? Because this would be watched by a lot of people in the third, fourth year, or 1 year in their experience in
Hmm.
the corporate experience, and they're planning to move abroad, and they look up to you as. So do you have any advice for them? Because it's considering that it's basically your younger self.
Yeah, I think don't compare with others. That is, like, I have all my life compared a lot with others based on how much package they've got, or
Hmm.
because even in MIT there is always a hierarchy, right? That if you sit for placements and if you get a placement in a company, you can't sit for the next company. You are
Hmm.
completely out of the placement round. That's what
Right.
happens. So what if there's a better company that comes up with a better package, and then you start comparing yourself with somebody else who got placed in a better company or with a better package? And that happens, and I think you should not do that. It's very easy for me to say that, but because inadvertently sometimes even I start comparing myself to someone else's life. But you just compare yourself and your journey to the starting point of your own journey, and that
Hmm.
helps a lot. That has helped me a lot. Like when I define my success, I always try to look at how I started. Like I know being maybe a software engineer for IITians at Walmart or Google, cracking Google and all of that might not be a big deal for IITians, but I feel
Hmm.
it is a big deal for me, because in tier 3 I did not get those opportunities, and now I have somehow managed to crack those opportunities. So I think I compare with my own starting point, and then that's when I feel happy and satisfied. Of course you have to do a lot of things that you
Hmm.
can do better as well, but definitely not comparing would, it'll help you get mentally sorted, and that is more
Right.
important, I think.
Right, 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 right. Yeah. Another thing which was recommended was, if you're comparing with someone else, so we usually look at their success, their higher package, or something like that. So either when you are looking at that, first uh, so you're okay with taking that higher package, but now think, are you okay to walk the path they have walked, with the sacrifices, with the bads, with the goods, whatever? Are you okay to do that? And the second is, maybe they were just surrounded with the resources. Maybe
Yeah.
people, yeah, like I look up to a lot of people, and then now with this analogy, I was like, huh, I won't really enjoy whatever path they walked on. And secondly, I didn't have those resources back then when I was growing up, which brought them here, which
Yeah.
shaped that person. So
Yes.
maybe I'll just hunt for those resources, and then it will help shape my future, basically.
Yes, yes, definitely. I completely agree. Like a lot of tech startups, right, in here, like even if you see Elon
Mhm.
Musk for that matter, he is like extremely smart, extremely hardworking. But it's not possible for everyone to be that hardworking or to hustle that much.
Mm,
And maybe some people would want some amount of family life or personal life wherein they want to do other things as well apart from tech and apart from building things and changing the world. But like he is great, that doesn't mean he is not good enough.
mm,
But it's not just good for you, maybe. So you
right.
just have to take advice also from people who have been in your shoes and who
Mm.
have done the things that you want to do, and also compare yourself also with their entire journey, I would say, and not just the
The
final
out.
destination. Yeah, because like
Mhm.
now when I check other content creators also, I always look at the number of posts and I see, oh, okay, they have posted much more than me, and that's
Right.
why they have reached that follower count.
Correct.
Maybe I have not posted that much. Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's it. I mean, it was a wonderful conversation. I had, like, I don't know what people will take away from this, whatever you guys will take away from this conversation. But for me, mainly that time, like T1 and T2 was insane. And then this ending part where we discuss upon comparing and operating from, right, operating rather than intimidation, just focus on, like yourself, and just rather than thinking they're just better, maybe they have some access
Yeah.
that is making them stand out. That was insane. So, I mean, that's it for the conversation. And I'll read the book. Let's see. And I'll share the summary or whatever my thoughts are with you. But thank you so much for doing it. Thank you so much for your insights. And yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much for inviting. This was amazing. Like this was like really casual, but still, I think a good listener really brings out the best in you. You were asking such amazing questions. I think so. The flow of thought was just amazing. The conversation was amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks, yeah.